All you YB fans, you better block me today. This little nigga on this whole payment, doing all type of G money. To get on that Fredo stamp you niggas. Nah, for real.
NBA, the tape that was leaked is insane, and YoungBoy just disrespectfully raped this silly Dallas rapper. Backstage during YB's own event, Montana 700 was banged up by YoungBoy and his Crash dummies for some old nasty remarks that came back to bother him. Montana believed he was secure because he was not even well known when he uploaded this video in 2021, which makes the situation crazy. When those old films began to reappear, YoungBoy made sure to inform this guy precisely who he was messing with, since the internet never forgets. I was given all the inside scoop on how this whole thing transpired, including how one old video destroyed Montana's career and cost him $700 in lost respect in the streets. Let me explain exactly what went wrong while dissing Lil Top, because this is gonna get nasty. How the king was clowned by a nobody. Going back to December 2021, when this whole situation began, is necessary to comprehend why Montana 700 had his face slapped up backstage. NBA YoungBoy released his Blackball music video at that time, and let me tell you, it caused a lot of controversy on the internet. YoungBoy was playing around with his image in the video. We are talking about cosmetics, black nail art, and other forms of artistic expression that left many unsure about his brand's future course. One thing was evident now: regardless of whether you called him feisty or grasped the idea, one of the roughest rappers in the game, NBA YoungBoy, tried something new with this. However, Montana 700, who was a total unknown from Dallas at the time and only had a few thousand followers, viewed this as his chance to become well known. This guy genuinely believed that by disparaging one of the most well-known hip-hop artists, he might further his career. Gang, the boldness was unbelievable. After watching YoungBoy paint his nails and move zestily, Montana prepared an entire video in which he addressed his followers, saying that anyone who still messes with him is no longer rocking with him. In essence, he was attempting to dehumanize a man who had been establishing his street cred for years by laughing, cursing YoungBoy, and calling him other derogatory names. You guys, the disrespect was multi-layered. It was more than simply the nails and cosmetics. Montana was attempting to cast doubt on YoungBoy's street cred, his manhood, and every aspect of his identity, and he was doing it to gain influence, to draw attention by dismantling an established figure. The timing was what made it even more offensive. At the time, YoungBoy was coping with a variety of pressures, including industry blackballing and legal troubles. It was blatantly nasty how opportunistic it was for some random Dallas guy to jump on during his darkest hour. This is the problem with Montana 700 though. That time, he was no one. No buzz, no hits, and no street cred. Just another budding rapper attempting to gain notoriety through controversy. He most likely believed that YoungBoy would never watch the video, or if he did, would not be interested enough to reply. In 2024 and 2025, Montana 700 began to gain some momentum in the Dallas rap scene as success brought former rivals back to the spotlight. Nothing significant, but enough excitement to have his name spreading and his previous work being dredged out by admirers and critics alike. At that point, the 2021 video began to circulate once more. You see, family, this is how the internet operates. People go through your whole digital past for information when you start to get notoriety. All previous tweets, videos, and comments are examined closely. Additionally, Montana's demeaning video about YoungBoy provided perfect material for dramatists. Hip-hop websites, Instagram accounts, and Twitter pages began reposting the video. In an attempt to elicit a response, fans were tagging both artists. While some were amused by the old clip, others were curious as to whether YoungBoy had ever seen it and how he would react. Montana most likely believed he was safe. After all, he had said such things nearly 4 years ago. His priorities were developing his profession, creating new songs, and becoming well known in the Dallas scene. He was probably not thinking about some old video in which he insulted NBA YoungBoy. Montana's greatest error, however, was to underestimate YoungBoy's memory span and his seriousness about disrespect. There is no statute of limitations for infractions on the streets. When you treat someone disrespectfully, the debt does not just go away with time. Additionally, the video's reappearance occurred while YoungBoy was at the height of his abilities. This wasn't 2021 YoungBoy dealing with legal troubles and industry politics. In 2025, YoungBoy was the unquestioned king of his lane with an insane fan fan base and the self-assurance that comes with disproving everyone who doubted him. Old Disrespect feels different when you are in that position of dominance. These days, the philosophy is more important than the words alone. Now that Youngboy was back up, it was time to resolve the dispute over Montana's attempt to kick him when he was down. This is how Montana 700 got into the wrong situation at the wrong time. Montana 700 was scheduled to take place on a typical night on September 2nd, 2025. Montana chose to accompany his buddy Huncho Amir for support after he received a call to perform with NBA Youngboy at his Dallas performance. Alongside his child receiving a huge look and performing alongside one of the top rap acts, this should have been a celebration. If Youngboy recalled the old video, Montana likely saw it as an opportunity to network and possibly end any possible feud. He may have had the intention of apologizing, claiming that it was simply immature and foolish conduct, and then moving on like a man, but Montana made a crucial mistake in judgment. He did not realize how much Youngboy had been upset by that old disrespect. You see, every slight is remembered when you are dealing with someone like YB, who has seen industry politics, court disputes, and unrelenting criticism. Everyone who attempted to kick him while he was on the ground is listed. It was likely made more difficult by the fact that Huncho Amir was Montana's friend. Amir's career was about to take a significant turn when he was given the chance to perform with Youngboy, but his relationship with Montana was going to cause issues that no one anticipated. It is likely that Montana was feeling well when they got to the location. He was surrounded by successful musicians backstage at a large performance, living the dream that all budding rappers have, with people congratulating Amir on the chance, and Montana taking in the reflected splendor. The atmosphere was most likely good. Youngboy, however, had already viewed the rediscovered footage. He most likely saw it on social media or was shown it by his team. In any case, he was well aware of Montana 700's identity and his 2021 statements. Montana was stepping into a trap he was unaware existed the moment he entered the backstage area. When Montana 700's history finally caught up with him, the altercation went quickly. Family. Montana was likely taking in the backstage ambiance one moment, and then he was confronted by NBA Youngboy, who had some pretty specific questions regarding the 2021 video. Sources familiar with the matter claim that Youngboy went straight to Montana. There was no hidden message or indirect confrontation here. YB approached him directly and confronted him about the disrespect. Youngboy made it plain that he recalled every word Montana had spoken about him throughout the quick but passionate talk. Montana made an effort to clarify, apologize, or say it was all a joke. However, explanations are not really important in circumstances like these. The damage had already been done, the contempt had already been spoken, and now it was time to deal with the fallout. The following step was where things became quite serious. Youngboy had his team deal with Montana physically rather than only verbally. We are discussing a severe backstage assault that caused Montana 700 to reevaluate all of his life's choices. The purpose of the slapping was humiliation as much as physical punishment. One of the most insulting things that may happen to you in hip-hop culture is getting slapped. Not only is it an act of violence, but it also conveys the message that you are not worthy of a legitimate battle and that you are not deserving of respect. In that instant, Montana's entire world most likely transformed. He was a young rapper with hopes and dreams one moment, and then one of the biggest names in the industry was violating him the next. It is impossible to overstate the psychological impact of anything like that. It was even more distressing because this occurred during Youngboy's own concert, in front of his staff and probably other business professionals. Montana was being humiliated in front of those who may have an impact on his career, not only in private. How Say Cheese helped keep the streets from burning. This is when the story truly becomes intriguing. Family. The owner of Say Cheese was able to view the video that captured the entire beating. One of the largest hip-hop media sites, Say Cheese, is well known for publishing exclusive content and breaking rap news for those who are unaware. However, the proprietor of Say Cheese made a shocking move. Instead of uploading the video and receiving millions of views, he declined to make the video public. His logic: he did not want things to go worse and lead to further street issues. Take a moment to consider that. We are discussing material that would have gone viral, garnered millions of views, and greatly increased platform interaction. However, the owner realized the possible repercussions of releasing it, so he decided to sit on it. The gravity of the problem is demonstrated by this choice. You can tell something was horrible if Say Cheese, a site that feeds on controversy and unique material, was afraid to share it. The video most likely shows Montana being thoroughly humiliated, which would have put a stop to his career before it even began. The owner's choice also demonstrates cultural sensitivity and an awareness of how easily things may get out of hand. Such material takes on a life of its own once it is made public. Individuals begin to take sides, threaten others, and what began as one person being checked can escalate into something much more serious, such as someone actually having his tortilla tapped. However, the existence of the tape and the fact that it is being kept by a significant media organization puts more strain on the issue. Montana is aware that there is footage out there and that it could be released at any time, ruining any remaining reputation he may have. How YB informed the world that the matter had been resolved. The tale began spreading on social media through various outlets even though the original film was never made public. After hip-hop bloggers started discussing the event, YB took a step that made things official. Now, however, everything is captured on tape, stored, and finally resurfaces when you begin to attract attention. This incident serves as a warning to aspiring artists about the value of considering your words before speaking. At the time, Montana's 2021 video likely appeared innocuous, just a nobody attempting to garner some attention by making a comment on a more well-known artist. However, it ultimately destroyed him both his job and his reputation. The event also demonstrates how hip-hop's power dynamics operate. Being in control, like YoungBoy, gives you the freedom to decide how and when to deal with disrespect. Montana had no option, but one thing is for sure, he will never again insult NBA YoungBoy. That is it for today, family. This story has it all: street justice, long-standing grudges, and the kind of repercussions that make you reconsider your actions before offending someone who might remember it later. Do not forget to press the subscribe button if you want more exclusive tales on what actually goes on behind the scenes in hip-hop. There are always more tales to be told from the streets, and I will be here to unravel them for you.